Hello everybody, my name is 711 and here we go guys. Here is the final battle. Corey versus Arfemius. Arfemius, he beat me in week 2. It came down to Milotic and Arcanine, my Milotic against his Arcanine and Blissey, just being really super stally and such. It was a very close 1-0 battle, and last week Corey beat me in a narrow 3-0 victory for Corey. And in this battle here, this is the final. Had I beat Corey last week, then this would be the team I'd be facing. So I'm rooting for Corey in this battle, but yeah, I have not watched the battle, but I heard it was super long, and I heard there was a lot of hacks involved. So I am actually going to keep track on my phone of just a tally of hacks. So yeah, as we see here, we have Victini, and we have Celesteela, we have Mega Gardevoir, Miltank. Corey is really good at using Miltank, he uses it very effectively. We have Galvantula, and we have Mamoswine, whereas Arfemius has a really great Fire Water Grass core, being Azumarill and Arcanine and Ferrothorn. Arfemius is very well known, he's famous for using Ferrothorn. We have Porthos, his Terrakion being the league killer, the kill leader, and we have Latios, and we have Mega Manectric. So yeah, for this battle, I'm actually going to put the speed on slow, just so that we can see the hacks as they happen, and we can possibly talk about it while this is going on. But without further ado, let's start this battle. So we see Mega Altaria starting off, and Porthos, so this is not a good matchup for Terrakion. He goes into Arcanine, as there's a Mega Evolution and a Return. As you can guess, that does very little damage. Maybe a Will-O-Wisp might be coming from Arcanine. This is definitely bulky. We see Whitney here, and yeah, just as I predicted, here's a Will-O-Wisp. So now Whitney is burned. Maybe this is a Seismic Toss Whitney, I don't know. Rocks maybe. Yep, just as I guessed, Rocks on Whitney. If he brings Whitney, it's usually his Rocker, so he switches into My Son, as here's a knockoff critical hit. Okay, so I think that's the first hacks in favor of Arfemius. And what do we have here? We have a V-Create critical hit, so that's a one in favor of Corey. Let's see what happens here. We see a Morning Sun, and here's a U-turn, so that's pretty smart. He lost the Choice Band, so it happens. We go and we see John here. So John's in a great position to click Earthquake. We'll see what Hard and Horny does. We see a knockoff there, so just in case the Latios came in. Okay, he lost the leftovers. And we see Rock Set as My Son comes in. So Azumarill is interesting switch, and we see a critical hit. So Corey gets another hacks in his favor. That was a huge blow. So I'm guessing that maybe this... Wait. Life Orb? Oh wait, no, it's Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet damage on the Azumarill from Whitney, the Miltank, and what did I pause this for? I'm guessing that Azumarill cannot belly drum up now. Either that or he's banded, because if it were a belly drum set, then Azumarill would probably have popped a Citrus Berry there. So yeah, anyway, Azumarill is really low, and we see a switch out, so that means that he must have a Defogger or something, because he's gonna die to rocks, or I believe. So Manectric comes in, Magnetric, the Manectric comes in. Interesting nickname to be sure. We see Melody switch in, And what are we going to see here? Volt switch. We're going to see an overheat. Interesting. So we see that drop, and Melody is doing very well as a wall for this, against this Manectric. So Hardened Warning comes in here. We see a defog from the Melody, and there's no more of that. And we see a Fire Blast, critical hit. Should I count that? Even if it doesn't matter, I'm going to count that. Wait a minute. Corey says in the chat here that you guys can't see that he doesn't think it mattered, but okay. So now Porthos is here, and what's going to happen here? We see a Rock Polish on turn 16, as we see a Body Slam, and no Paralysis. Arfemius is playing with fire here. Now we see a Swords Dance. We see another Body Slam. We going to get the para? No para. This is not looking good. This is not looking good. Let's see how much more damage this thing can do. We see a Stone Edge Miss, so that's another hacks in Corey's favor. And the Paralysis, that's another hacks in Corey's favor. Then a Bug Buzz defeats Porthos. Now in the chat here, it does say that Charlotte is Focus Sash, so that's interesting to point out. We see My Son come in here. Will-O-Wisp misses, but that's not really hacks because we know for sure that didn't matter. We see a Zen Headbutt here, and we see a Flare Blitz. Interesting. Interesting. And we see another V-Create. Or not another V-Create, but there's a Zen Headbutt. Here's a Morning Sun. And I'm guessing that we're going to see a switch here. We do see a switch into Melody this time. We see a Flare Blitz. We see a little bit of recoil. Yeah, Melody is doing really well as a general wall to his team. Yeah, if you look at it, being a dragon typing means that he is essentially walling everything that Mega Manectric can do. Basically everything that Arcanine can do, and basically everything that Azumarill can do. So Melody is an excellent wall in this case, and because Melody is a fairy type, he's walling a lot that Latios can do. So kudos to Melody there. We see a return, and I'm guessing that the return is just in case of a Latios switching in, that's my guess. So there's another swap back into Melody. Too bad the rocks are not up anymore. Yeah, both rock setters are gone at this point, so Sea-Dog, Corey, and Arfemius cannot set any more rocks. That's unfortunate because, Azumarill and Charlotte, the Galvantula, will not appreciate web, or yeah, they won't appreciate webs. They won't appreciate rocks damage. My Son, the Victini's at 23% health, so it can't take rocks either. We see a Will-O-Wisp on Charlotte, which is essentially going to break the Focus Sash. We see a Thunder there. Wait, let me see. There's a Roar. There's a Will-O-Wisp. Okay. And we see Morning Sun. Thunder did 46%. Morning Sun healed 50%. So, all in all, Morning Sun is better than Thunder. Now let's see what Manectric is going to do here. Yeah, the Thunder did hit. Now what? Now Melody is back in full health. We see an Overheat. Melody is still doing well. Still doing nice and healthy. And now we see a swap into John, the Mamoswine. So Mega Manectric literally can't do anything. And do we see an Icicle Crash maybe? We do see an Icicle Crash. There's a critical hit. So that's another Hax for Corey. Right now, it is 1, 2, 3, 6 hexes for Corey, 1 for Arfemius. And Arcanine is being nice and healthy over here, being fully paralyzed. We see a Zen Headbutt, going for those paraflinches, I'm guessing. Flare Blitz, my son lives on like 1 HP. And we see a switch into Latios here. We see that my son is no longer choice banded. Yeah, Latios would definitely be faster, and we do see the Ice Beam. And so now in comes Manetric. We see a heavy slam on the Latios, but Mega Manetric switched in. We see Melody in here, and once again being a very good wall. And I'm predicting a pretty nice long stall fest here. Even that super effective hidden power only doing 15%. It would only do 30% if Mega Manetric didn't click Overheat already. But yeah, Melody is still being an excellent wall. Roost is just so good. Roost is amazing on a defensive Mega Altaria. So now what do we see this Arcanine doing? We see a Roost here. I wouldn't have roosted there in my opinion, because it only healed 32 health. And we see Arcanine still having leftovers. Interesting. Mega Manetric is in here now. This Fire Blast does not take out Mega Manetric. So now Melody has no attack. It's burned and is at half, as at 0.4 attack now with Arcanine's Intimidate. Arfemius has 2 Intimidate users, which really cripples many physical offensive threats. Now we see Flare Blitz, and what's Melody going to do? Melody is going to click Return. Again, that's safe because that's good to preserve those roosts until you're below half health. Whenever you're stalling and you can afford to wait till you're half health, that's when you want to click the roost. Not whenever you only have like 30 or 40% of your health taken away. You want to get, maximum utility out of that. So now we see a defog here. Interesting that he does, he's trying to preserve PP here. I have not been counting Morning Suns, but I imagine that Arcanine doesn't have that many more Morning Suns. I think that he has at least 4, and Morning Sun has 8 total. So that's interesting to point out. We see a Fire Blast here, only doing 13%. And we see a Flare Blitz, okay. And that's doing -6. So Flare Blitz is doing the same damage that Leftovers Recovery is doing. We know that this is not getting anywhere at all. Fire Blast, miss. Okay, so let me mark that down for Arfemius. Interesting. Now here's Air Force 1, and we see an Ice Beam. Okay. Switch back into Arcanine. Here's a Leech Seed. So now Air Force is going to get some mad HP back every turn. Very good, very good way of using it. And we see the full paralysis, so that's a hex for, in Corey's favor. That's annoying, to be sure. We see a Roost. And we see a full para. That's another hex in Corey's favor. You see a Return here. Yeah, the Leech Seed is really wearing down this Arcanine right now. And there's a Flare Blitz. Corey is doing an excellent job in... There's a Morning Sun. Corey is doing an excellent job in preserving Celesteela because he has quite a few threats. Arfemius has quite a few threats for Celesteela. Being the Mega Manetric, we see return, down goes that. Arcanine threatens Celesteela, the setup, Terrakion, and all. So you see a defog here, which is fine. It is what it is. So interestingly, a defog will pretty much guarantee. Defog does guarantee that Fire Blast will hit because it lowers the evasion. So that's something to point out. So now we see Air Force One here, and we get a freeze. Okay, so what does that do for Corey? First of all, let me mark that down for Arfemius. So there's freeze. Here's Arcanine, and he switched into Charlotte. And this could be the game right here. Here's a Thunder, and we see a critical hit. So that's one more hacks. And here's a Azumarill. We don't see the Aqua Jet. And Arfemius forfeits. And how much health did Latios have at the end? 49%. So that could be in range of Mamoswine's Ice Shard, possibly. If he were to click like a Draco Meteor on something, then basically Mega Altaria will literally roost stall all of the Ice Beam PP back, and yeah, so Corey won. Corey is the PBA Season 8 champion. Congratulations, Corey. You have always been an excellent battler since I've known you. Corey has been around since PBA Season 3, and he's made it to the playoffs every year, and finally, for Season 8, he is the champion. If you look at the hacks, Arfemius hacked Corey 3 times, and Corey has hacked Arfemius 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 times. 9 times in 65 turns. That's like 1 in 7, so that's kind of rough. Of course, some hacks mattered, some hacks might have mattered, some hacks definitely didn't matter. But yeah, I mean, not. What am I trying to say? Even though, hacks was definitely a major factor in this battle, that does not mean that the players themselves, they did bring excellent prep, and they did use very good strategies, and they both played very, very well. So those things we can definitely not take away from Corey, even though Corey did have the upper hand in a number of moments. There was a critical hit on the Azumarill, critical hit on the Arcanine. Yeah. So, I mean, well, even if the Thunder on Arcanine did not kill, then Arcanine would kill with a Flare Blitz. Arcanine would be at relatively low health, and then John the Mamoswine comes in and has his way a good bit. And as we saw earlier, the Mega Altaria Melody, the nickname here, Melody does wall Arcanine 100%. So, yeah, good game to both contestants. Arfemius also had a standout season. Like I said before, his Porthos, the Terrakion, did lead the league in kills. So, yeah, great game to both of you, and I'm glad that both of you will be coming back for PBA Season 9. And of course, your proud coach of the Pittsburgh Thunderbolts, we are not going anywhere. The draft will be in a few weeks, and I'm going to be really excited because I'm going to pick a few Pokemon that I've never used before, and hopefully those Pokemon in conjunction with some Pokemon I've tried before. You know, out of 11 Pokemon, I'll try to pick at least 4 Pokemon I've never used before. And, you know, overall, I had a lot of fun using Milotic. Never used Milotic before. I had a lot of fun using Togekiss, but Togekiss didn't have as much of a standout season as I thought he would. Oh well, you know, base 80 is pretty annoying. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, then like this video, comment on this video, share it with your friends, and click subscribe if you haven't already. And on that note, guys, I will see you all later. Peace.